So let's talk about a fascinating story. It's about a financial giant that's on one hand just crushing it, but on the other is also very carefully tapping the brakes. This is the story of Bajaj Finance, a company navigating massive success and some very real growing pains.
I mean, just think about this question for a second. How on earth does any company add almost 4.7 million new customers in a single quarter? That's not a typo. That's the kind of insane speed we're talking about with Bajaj Finance.
And this number? This is the fuel for that incredible growth. This is their assets under management, or AUM. Basically, it's the total value of all the loans they have out in the world. We're talking over 4,41,000 crore rupees. It's just a staggering amount of money. And if you look at their latest results, the numbers are just really strong. Year on year, their total assets are up 25%. And their profits? They're right there with them, climbing over 20%. The main headline is pretty clear. The growth machine is absolutely humming.
Now, to really get how they do this, you have to understand that Bajaj Finance isn't just operating on its own. It's the core lending engine inside this much bigger financial ecosystem that's got insurance, investments, you name it. And that structure, that's the key to their whole strategy.
And hey, just so we're all on the same page, when we keep saying AUM, we're talking about the total value of every single loan and investment they manage. To put it simply, it's pretty much the best way to measure a lender's true size and power in the market.
Okay, so how do they keep feeding that massive AUM? Well, their strategy is this really powerful two-part attack. First, look at that funnel on the left. That's just pure aggressive acquisition, pulling millions of new customers into their world every single quarter. But the real genius, the real magic is on the right. They are experts at getting each of those customers to use more and more of their products. You can see it right there in the chart. It might start with a simple loan, but then they'll add a payment service, and then maybe an investment. It's all about making every customer relationship deeper and, of course, way more valuable. So this is basically their secret sauce, and it's straight from their own playbook. It all starts with that trusted brand name that works for, a huge swath of customers. From there, they are completely obsessed with two things: constantly innovating to make everything seamless and frictionless, and always cross-selling new products. It's a formula they have absolutely perfected. But, and this is a really big but, here's the plot twist in this growth story. Things aren't perfect. In their own words, they are actively pruning parts of the business. I mean, this quote from their own leadership is so telling. It shows they are intentionally pulling back from areas that have given them a lot of trouble. This really highlights two completely different strategies happening at the exact same time. On one hand, you've got the company as a whole just speeding ahead with that 25% growth, but on the other hand, they are slamming on the brakes in very specific areas. Just look at their loan business for 2- and 3-wheelers. It actually got smaller. They're being super strategic, cutting back wherever they see risk popping up.
And this data right here, this shows you exactly why they're pruning. This table is all about something called provisioning, which is really just a fancy way of saying the money they're setting aside to cover potential bad loans. So if you look at the riskier stuff, like those 2-wheeler loans or business loans, you'll see the provision numbers are much higher. They're basically building a financial cushion, getting ready for potential trouble in those specific spots.
And this all comes down to a really important metric called GNPA, or Gross Non-Performing Assets. These are basically the loans that have gone bad, where people haven't paid for 90 days or more. When a company starts seeing GNPAs go up in one part of the business, it's a huge red flag. This is the signal that tells them exactly where they need to start trimming.
Now, you might be thinking, with all this change, there must be chaos at the top, right? But nope. Bajaj moved incredibly fast to make sure everything stayed stable. When the MD resigned, the board brought the super experienced and well-respected Rajiv Jain right back into a central leadership role. The message to everyone was crystal clear. The strategy is not changing.
And they've laid out a very clear timeline for this whole transition. With the current leadership locked in for the next few years, the board is already working on a formal plan for what comes after that. They're basically broadcasting to the entire market, hey, don't worry, we've got this. This is a planned, stable handover, not some kind of crisis reaction. So, what's next? This is where it gets really exciting. Bajaj is betting its future on something they're calling finite transformation. It's this deep, deep integration of finance and artificial intelligence. And they believe this current financial year is going to be the defining year where this whole strategy really starts to pay off.
And here it is, the end game. It's a pretty straightforward three-step plan to completely dominate the digital finance space. Step 1, build a ridiculously massive customer base. Well, check. They've got over 100 million people. Step 2 is to mash every financial service you can think of into one single seamless app. And the ultimate goal, step 3, to become so essential, so indispensable, that they become the one financial app you simply can't live without.
Look, they've already proven they are absolute masters of lending at a scale that's hard to even comprehend. But their next chapter, their next big challenge, is all about turning that scale into total digital dominance. Which leaves us with the billion-dollar question, really. Can Bajaj Finance actually make that leap from being just a giant lender to becoming the one financial app that over 100 million Indians truly can't live without? That is the story we'll all be watching.